Jai Gurudev. So then we are on page 235. Who wants to start reading?
I will read. Vasistha continued. Even as ornaments made of gold are only gold, I am the pure consciousness in the body. I am the self that pervades all things within and without. I am that consciousness which reflects all experiences without itself undergoing any change, and which is untouched by impurity. I salute that consciousness, which is the bestower of the fruits of all thoughts, the light that shines in all luminaries, the supreme gain, that consciousness pervades all the limbs, ever awake and alert, vibrates constantly in all substances, and is ever homogeneous and undisturbed, as if it were in deep sleep, though wide awake. That consciousness is the reality that bestows the individual characteristic on each and every substance in the universe. And though within all, and so nearest to all, is far on account of its own inaccessibility to the mind and the senses, continuous and homogeneous in waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and in the fourth transcendental state of consciousness. It shines when all thoughts have ceased, when all excitements have ceased, and when all hate has ceased. That consciousness is devoid of desire and ego sense, and cannot be divided into parts. I have attained that consciousness, which is the indweller of all, and yet though all is beyond diversity. It is the cosmic net in which the infinite number of beings are caught like birds. In it, all these words manifest, though in fact nothing has ever happened. That consciousness is of the nature of being and non-being, and the resting place of all that is good and divine. It plays the roles of all beings, and it is the source of all affection and peace, though it is forever united and liberated. It is the life of all living beings, the uncreated nectar that cannot be stolen by anyone, the ever-existent reality. That consciousness, which is reflected in sense experiences, is yet devoid of them and cannot be experienced by them. In it, all beings rejoice, though it itself is pure bliss beyond all joy. Like the space, but beyond space, glorious yet devoid of all expansions and glory. Though seemingly it does all, it does nothing. All this is I, and all this is mine. But I am not, and I am not other than I. I have realized this. Let this world be an illusion or substantial. I am free from the fever of distress.
Okay. It is on the same lines as before. He's talking about the consciousness and how he has recognized that he is the Purusha. Yeah, this has been Rama's journey. Compare it to what Rama was 235 pages ago. Yeah, totally despondent, in a state of misery. What is all this? What is the point of all this? That Rama who went through numerous questions, so many doubts. Vasistha kept answering every question, every doubt. And now here is Rama. Yeah? Now the Vasistha is talking about the consciousness, you will see how Rama says that yes, I am also getting there. Yeah. Rama's understanding also comes to where Vasistha's understanding is now. Yeah. So that is the most important part of this chapter. We've done this before. Even as ornaments made of gold are only gold, I am the pure consciousness in the body. Where did you do this example before? Before here. Ashtavakra Gita. Yeah, remember? Same example was there in Ashtavakra Gita. Yes. There was an example on the previous page on 234 of the sugar cane. That was also there in Ashtavakra Gita. On this page the example is of gold. Yeah, this was also there in Ashtavakra Gita. Same examples have been used in the scriptures. Yeah, just like the ornaments are not separate from the gold. Yeah, they just have a beautiful form, beautiful color. Yeah, and they are practical. They can be used. Like that only, I have this body and there is this other body, yeah, and there are these things like computer, TV, phone. Oh, everything is usable. This is the usable or the practical form of that consciousness. Yeah, what will you do with such a big block of gold? No use, no? It's worth a lot of money, but that's it. It's just sitting there. Yeah, but when it is a bangle, you can wear it. When it is a earring, you can wear it. Yeah, just like that. That same consciousness, that pool of consciousness when it's sitting there, does not seem practical to you. Yes, when it takes these forms of man, woman, objects, trees, creatures, it makes this world a beautiful place. Yes, it gives it at least a so-called practical existence, which we think is practical. I am pure consciousness in the body. So finally that ornament is gold only. Finally you are that consciousness only. I am the self that pervades all things within and without. I am that consciousness which reflects all experiences without itself undergoing any change and which is untouched by impurity. Yes, this means this little bangle, yeah, one person is a bangle, one person is a earring, yeah, you have become impure. Yeah, at some part you can become really thin, you can break, yeah, you can die, you can undergo transformation, but that big block of gold, is in its entirety it does not undergo any transformation. Like that only, that Brahman consciousness which is all pervading, which is inside me, is inside this computer, inside that person, that Brahman consciousness does not undergo the change that you undergo. Are you getting this? This is a very delicate point. I am born, yeah, this body, yeah, is born. This body undergoes transformation. Few years ago it was a baby, then some years passed, it became a teen, some more years passed, it has become an adult, and now more years will pass, it will become old. Underwent transformation. The Brahman consciousness is in this body, but it did not undergo any transformation. Are you seeing that? That is what is being said here. That it reflects in all experiences, but it itself does not undergo any change. Yeah? I can progress from being a little baby to a very old woman. I can undergo this entire transformation because of the Brahman consciousness, but that Brahman consciousness within me does not undergo any change. So amazing, no?
like a movie screen. When you project something, the screen is white, and you can project whatever you want to, which is our life or the journey, but that doesn't change the screen. It doesn't matter what happens on the screen, it doesn't change the screen. I thought that metaphor was really well applied, and what you said just triggered that memory actually.
Yes. Perfect example. Perfect. Yeah, so Brahman consciousness, though it is in everything, it is in me, it makes me change, but that Brahman consciousness does not undergo that change. Yeah. So in a way, there is one aspect of Brahman consciousness in which I do not exist, and there is one aspect of this Prakriti in which the Brahman consciousness does not exist. Confusing? See, this Prakriti, let's call it very simply Prakriti and Purusha or Brahman consciousness. Yeah, this Prakriti undergoes transformation, it undergoes birth and death. Yeah, so there is an aspect of this Prakriti, the changing aspect, where Brahman does not exist. Yes, similarly, how did this Prakriti undergo creation and dissolution? The power of Brahman, right? So, in that Brahman consciousness, that power, I am beyond it. This Prakriti cannot fathom that power. This Prakriti cannot become that power. Yeah. So one aspect of Brahman consciousness where Prakriti is not present is that creation, transformation and dissolution, and one aspect of Prakriti where Brahman consciousness is not present. Again, creation, transformation and dissolution. Too high? Okay. श्रुति क्वेश्चन मार्क दिख रहा है. Got it? Yeah. So, in the changeless Brahman consciousness, yeah, the power to change exists, but still the Brahman consciousness does not change. That is the summary of this paragraph. And because it does not change, it cannot become impure. Yeah? Only that which changes, transforms, can move from purity to impurity or impurity to purity, no? Yes? That which is changeless, yeah? That which cannot be touched, that is ever pure. It is beyond purity even. Yeah? Because the moment you say one thing, one side of the coin, the opposite side is implied, right? So even if you say Brahman is pure, that means there can be a possibility of impurity in Brahman. Yeah. So understand, even if sometimes we use the word that Brahman is pure, but actually it is transcendental, it is beyond that. The two opposites cannot exist in it. But because of limitation of language, we have to use the word that Brahman is pure. It is actually beyond purity even. Yeah. So next paragraph. I salute to the consciousness which is the bestower of the fruits of all thoughts. Yeah. A thought comes to my mind. Yeah. It becomes an impression and sits in my consciousness. For a few days it is there, and I might act on this thought. Yes. Something will come out of it, good fruit or bad fruit. Yes. I have thrown seeds, yes, of action. Who gives me back the fruit? Who is the bestower of the fruit of this thought? The consciousness, the Brahman. the light that shines in all luminaries. It is in everything. Yes, it is basically all pervading. The supreme gain. There is nothing higher to gain, especially for a spiritual seeker. How much ever money you have, how much ever cars, whatever things you like, kids, relationships, how much ever love, it will never satiate you. There is only one gain which is really supreme, which can actually put you at peace, and that is achieving that, attaining this, the supreme Brahman consciousness, going back to who you actually were. You just got lost. It's all about finding your own self. That is why it is called the supreme gain. There is nothing higher than that. That consciousness pervades all the limbs, ever awake and alert, vibrates constantly in all substances. Basically, it is there in all of Prakriti as a vibration. I cannot say, oh, the Brahman consciousness is here, oh, it is here, oh, it is here. You cannot say where it is. Where is the Purusha? And we studied in Kathopanishad, it is the size of the thumb. It is so small, somewhere it has to be. But we cannot point it out anywhere. It is all pervading. Like space is all pervading in this room. I cannot say space is here and not here. It's not possible. So though it is just the size of the thumb, it is still all pervading in each of these limbs, and it is like a vibration. It is vibrating in all creatures, in all substances. Here substances actually means earth, water, fire, air, ether. Basically a combination of these only is in everything, right? All the Prakriti that I see. So it is vibrating in all these elements and is ever homogeneous and undisturbed, as if in deep sleep though wide awake. This is so beautiful. We have studied this, no? Complete awareness, when I am 100% aware, moment to moment to moment, in my waking state. I will be aware when I go to sleep and move into the dreaming state. And dreams automatically drop off. That complete awareness can be carried into the deep sleep state. Where you realize, oh, only this body requires sleep. Only this body is sleeping. I am completely aware and awake. That aspect of you which will witness that 8-hour, 9-hour sleep, when you become completely aware of that little corner of you, that little aspect of you, you are totally established in that Brahman consciousness. Got it? So it is in deep sleep as if it is awake. Clear? That,
Awake is really 100% aware.
yes. Awake is not just with my eyes open. This is not really awake. So, let me give you an example. When I move on from this body at the point of death, I have moved on, eyes are shut, body is dropped, but I have to maintain that awareness. I am free from the limitation of the body. Maintaining that awareness helps me go to that window of liberation. Are you getting it? That is being awake. Being asleep is being lost in this maya of ragas and dveshas and I want this, I don't want this, I don't like this. If that happens at the last moment, at the time of death, you are still lost in the moha of money, of spouse, of child, of this person, that person, you are really in deep sleep. But if at that moment you have let go of every little attachment, whether it's a craving or an aversion, yes, then you are completely awake. Understood the definitions of awake and asleep? It's got nothing to do with these eyes being open or closed. Yeah. The other example I wanted to give you is when you move on to the other side, you are not definitely going to be born again in a physical body immediately. Yeah. Even when you are on the other side, yes, there also being awake and sleep is used. But there is no body. How will you be awake and how will you be asleep when there is no body? This is the meaning. The moment you are lost in moha, in ignorance, in attachment, in likes and dislikes, that means you are asleep. Yes? And if you are 100% aware, sharp, in the moment, moment to moment to moment, yeah, then you are awake. Clear? I'm talking about when you go on to the other side, as in maybe you land up in with the Pitras, or maybe you land up in with the Devas in the Swarga Loka, depending on your karmas. Understood the meaning of being awake and being asleep? Got nothing to do with these eyes being open or closed. Yeah. That consciousness is the reality that bestows the individual characteristic on each and every substance in the universe, and though within all and so nearest to all, is far on account of its inaccessibility to the mind and the senses. Yeah, so it gives its individual characteristic to all substances. What are substances? I just told you.
All the elements, everything.
The 5 elements. It gives its characteristic to fire, to be warm, to heat up. It gives its characteristic to water, to flow, to be cool. It gives its characteristic to air, to move around. Yeah. It gives its characteristic to earth, to be heavy, to be consolidated. Yeah. So it's given its characteristic to everything. Yeah. Even to space, to be almost like a witness. Yeah. Every element has received its characteristic from the consciousness. Yes. And it is in all. So you and I and this computer and this table and the lamp is a combination of earth, water, fire, ether, air. Nothing else. Yeah. All these characteristics have been bestowed upon us. It is in all of us. Yeah. But still it is very far. Why? Because we are now limited by this Prakriti. Because we got earth, water, fire, ether, air, we got limited in a way. Yes. So we started looking through a peephole, and that peephole is of the mind and intellect. Yeah? I understand only what I hear. I understand only what I see. If I cannot see something, I cannot believe it. Yeah? If I cannot hear something, I think it does not exist. Yeah? But really the sun makes a sound. I cannot hear the sound. Yeah? But today, NASA has really experimented in space and figured it out that really sun makes a sound. And they have converted those vibrations into energy, which has translated into the sound that we can hear. Yeah? And those who are really astonished right now, after the session, you can Google it up. All these planets have their own sounds. Jupiter has its own sound. Saturn has its own sound. Yeah? So they all make a sound in space, but it's not audible to my ear. So till the time this was not proved by NASA, what did I believe? Oh, there is no sound in space. Yeah? For a very, very long time, even scientists believed that there was no sound in space. Yes? So we have become limited by our mind and intellect. Got it? Breaking out of this limitation is the entire exercise of spirituality. Yes. And the sages sat down and meditated, and in their deepest meditation, where they pull away from the Prakriti and go deep into that Purusha, into that Brahman consciousness, they could experience things which are beyond the five senses, beyond sight, sound, taste, touch and smell. Yeah. That is possible for you and me also. Yeah, so it is that consciousness, that Brahman consciousness, which is all pervading. It is in everything, it is in me, but still it is very far because I am limited. Understood this paragraph? Continuous and homogeneous in waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and in the fourth, transcendental state of consciousness, it shines when all thoughts have ceased, when all excitements have ceased, and when all hate has ceased. That consciousness is devoid of desire and ego sense and cannot be divided into parts. Yeah, this is so beautifully explained. Yeah. Just like electricity. Yeah. Though you may say, oh, the light coming from this lamp is yellow and the light coming from that bulb is white. Yeah, but actually it cannot be divided. You really cannot divide light. Yes. Though the room that you are sitting in is in Cincinnati and the room that I am sitting in is in Chicago, doesn't matter. The space there is the same space which is here in this room. Cannot be divided. Yeah. This space does not say, oh, I am Chicago space. No ego in this space. Like that only Brahman consciousness cannot be divided, does not have ego, does not have desire. It is beyond all these small limitations. These small limitations belong to the Prakriti, to my mind, and not to the Brahman consciousness. Yeah. So now it is devoid of all this, and then when can I experience it? When all my hatred, my anger, my jealousy, my excitement, everything, when it ceases in meditation, you experience even for a moment that complete thoughtless state, absolute silence. That is the experience of Brahman consciousness. It might happen just for a few seconds today, but if you keep practicing, you will reach a stage where your entire meditation is just blank. Silence. Boof, you're gone. And you just come back and you don't even know how much time has passed. Yeah? That's where you will experience that silence which he's talking about is the same as in waking, in dreaming, in deep sleep, and even in the fourth, that transcendental Turiya Avastha. The fourth is the Turiya Avastha that we have been talking about so many times. Yeah. And each one of you, see that you meditate. If you're very busy, meditate twice a day. Yeah? You need it more than the others. You need that silence. You need to go deep within you and just experience that complete off. Yeah, that off stage. Many people don't switch off their laptops in the night. They just shut down they just close the hood of the laptop. What happens in a few years? The laptop dies, no? Yeah, that laptop does not experience complete switch off, that complete shutdown state. That's how we've been living. Never shut down, never shut down. Yeah, we just have been going either into a standby state or sleep state. It's of no use. That complete shutdown state is very important and can be experienced only in meditation. Yeah? That's where you will experience this Brahman consciousness, which is the same in waking state, dreaming state, deep sleep state, and that Turyavastha. Yeah? So if it is the same, then who do these four states belong to? Bolo, bolo. Who do the four states belong to?
Prakriti.
To the body.
Perfect. To the Prakriti. Yes. This body undergoes a waking state because it goes into dreaming. Yeah. Dreaming is not just in the night. Listening to me right now, you might start thinking about what happened in the day. My boss said this, my wife said this, my husband said this. You've gone into dreaming state. Got it? Yeah, so it belongs to Prakriti, these states. When I learn to transcend beyond these regular three states of waking, dreaming and deep sleep and move towards the fourth state, which happens only after many years of meditation and sincere practice, then it is called Turyavastha. So that also belongs to the Prakriti only, na? Yes, these states don't belong to the Brahman consciousness. Did you ever think like that? Yeah? They belong only to the Prakriti. Only this Prakriti is bound by these four states. Yeah? When I learn to move on, yeah, after I drop everything and I learn to move on, then I will be constantly established initially in the Turiya state. When this body drops at death, then even that state is dropped. Yeah? And you move higher. Remember, I've told you there are stages in enlightenment. Yeah? So the first stage is being constantly in the Turyavastha till this body dies, of course. When the body dies, you move on to a higher state, yeah, which is constant awareness, devoid of Prakriti, devoid of body. Yeah? And we had done about 100 pages ago, there are 7 stages in enlightenment. Do you remember? Yeah. So those stages then start after that. Yeah. Brahman consciousness remains the same in all these stages of Prakriti.
Question.
Huh.
So if we, like everybody dies, everybody loses their body, and so when we go on the other side, but our level of awareness is not 100% for everybody who loses their body on the other side, right?
Right.
So how do we associate that the awareness and all these states are just because of the body?
Not just because of the body, it's because of the Prakriti, I said. So Prakriti is not just matter. Huh? Prakriti is also the mind, is also the intellect. Yeah? It's also the ego. It's also the memory. All this is part of Prakriti. Yeah? Remember, we've done this in Ashtavakra Gita also. Yes? Those are the subtler forms of Prakriti. This body, flesh, remember Ashtavakra 20? Asti, Masa, and I don't remember all the Rasa. Yeah. All these are the gross forms of Prakriti. Blood, bones, plasma, skin is all the gross form of Prakriti, and the subtler form of Prakriti was mind, intellect, memory, and ego. Remember? So when people who have not been on the spiritual path, when they die and they move on, they are still stuck in ego, still stuck in mind, attachment to this, attachment to that. So all that subtler form of Prakriti exists for them. Are you getting it? That is why the awareness does not go high, because they are holding on to that Prakriti. When we are on the spiritual path, we are practicing this while living, that I drop this hold on ego, mine, I. When I start dropping all this while living, it will be very easy when I move on to the other side. I will have already practiced dropping all this I and mine. So when I'm on the other side, those ragas and dveshas will not attract me so much. Yes, and then I'll be able to maintain that 100% awareness. Only when I am able to maintain that 100% awareness on the other side at the point of death can I meet that window of liberation.
So these four states, like waking, dreaming, they belong to subtler Prakriti, not the gross form of Prakriti. Right?
Both. You sleep in the night also, right? Yes. You dream in the night, so this body sleeps. Yeah. This body undergoes a state of dreaming. This body undergoes a state of deep sleep. Yeah. The mind also undergoes the same. Yeah. Not just in the night, but even during the day. Sometimes you're sitting in office and you're so bored of your work, your eyes are open. It's such a boring conference going on. Somebody is explaining something you're not interested in. 10 minutes as if you were lights out. You did not register a single word. Happens, no? You can sleep with your eyes wide open. Yes? So even the mind undergoes sleep without the eyes closing. Got it? So even the body undergoes it. The gross form of Prakriti undergoes these states, and the subtle form of Prakriti undergoes these states. Yeah? If you remember initial part of Yoga Vasistha, first we have a subtle body. Remember? Subtle body is mind, intellect, memory, ego. The subtle body says, oh, I want to be this form of physical body. Then you come into a physical body. Right? Got it? So that subtle body is the first form of Prakriti. Then that Prakriti says, now oh, I want more of Prakriti, and it gathers more of physical. So finally subtle and the physical both undergo these states of consciousness. Yeah?
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
I have, in honesty, forgotten all the 7 stages of enlightenment.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if this is related to the lokas that you were talking about, because that also spoke about levels of enlightenment.
Yes, it's yeah. They go together.
I'll have to revise.
Yeah. I think it was there in your last exam. So if you just go to your last examination paper, that question was definitely asked and you definitely answered it. That's the easiest way to find it. Now you know the importance of exam papers. Okay. I have attained that consciousness which is the indweller of all, and yet, though all is beyond diversity. Yeah? So it is actually in all. in animals, in trees, in plants, in humans. So it is diverse, yes, yet it is beyond diversity. You're getting it, no? That aspect of Prakriti which is not in the Brahman consciousness is creation, transformation and dissolution. And that same aspect of Brahman consciousness which is not in Prakriti is the power of creation, the power of transformation and the power of dissolution. Yes? So, I have attained that consciousness which is the indweller of all, and yet, though all is beyond diversity. This diversity has got to do with that creation, that transformation and that dissolution. Got it? It is the cosmic net in which the infinite number of beings are caught like birds. In it, all these worlds manifest, though in fact nothing has ever happened. Yeah? It is all like a dream. Yeah? Like you sleep in the night, you start dreaming that you've started flying in the sky, and then all the other people are flying around with you. All kinds of weird dreams you see. But really nothing has happened. But it feels so real. Yeah? So we are all caught up like birds in this net. Yes, nothing has really happened. But all these worlds manifest in our mind. That consciousness is of the nature of being and non-being, and the resting place of all that is good and divine. It plays the roles of all beings, and it is the source of all affection and peace, though it is forever united and liberated. Yeah? So all these experiences basically that you go through love, you go through all this affection, peace, different roles. Yeah? All that is happening because of the consciousness, but in reality, nothing is happening. It is the life of all beings, the uncreated nectar that cannot be stolen by anyone, the ever-existent reality. That consciousness which is reflected in sense experiences is yet devoid of them and cannot be experienced by them. This is so true, no? Yeah. 235 pages we've been making an attempt to understand this consciousness, to read this book and probably be able to see this consciousness, but the eyes can only read words. Cannot really see that consciousness. Yeah, 235 pages you've been listening to me, but you can only hear words. Yeah, that sound of consciousness cannot be heard. Yeah? So it is beyond the experience of senses. It's not possible.
But without the words, we would not even know to look inwards.
Right.
That's the only way we can understand to experience the formless. Right?
That's true. It's like a signpost. Look there. That's it. And it stops there. After that, oh, what now? Oh, now my own journey begins. The problem is people stop here. People stop at these words and they keep reading the words again and again. Keep reading the words again and again in an attempt to understand the consciousness by reading the words. That will not happen, guys. This is meant to be read, to be understood and then applied. Applied means you go within, meditate and see if you can experience what Vasistha is talking about. See if you can experience what Rama is experiencing. Yeah? Little silence, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, then slowly that silence will increase, and in that silence you will start experiencing that vibration. And as the silence, the duration increases, this vibration, this sensation becomes very strong, and then you can experience it throughout your spine. You can experience that energy going up till the top of your head. And then you can experience that vibration all over. And at the end, you are just a vibrating mass. There is no body at all. Yeah? But if you are attempting to understand the consciousness just by reading, without sitting and meditating, then you are holding on to the signpost. I'm going to get enlightened by holding on to the signpost. No. The signpost is there to show you the direction. Now walk. Walk alone. The journey beyond a certain point has to be made alone. You cannot walk with anybody. I cannot walk with you beyond a certain point. You've noticed that, no? There is only a point till where I can take you. Just like you teach a little child to go swimming. Yeah? You put him into the swimming pool, you teach him how to breathe under the water, how to stop his breath, how to come up. You teach him all the great tactics of swimming. But finally you have to let go of his hand. Right? If you keep holding on to the book, you are not letting go of the hand of your coach. It's not going to work. You will not learn to swim. You're going to drown. That's what maximum people have made a mistake on the spiritual path. They hold on to jnana, or they hold on to seva, or they hold on to the Guru's physical presence. Yeah? Beyond a point, you have to walk this path alone. That journey within is very scary. I understand it. Beyond 10-15 minutes, the mind does not want to be inside, does not want to be quiet, does not want to be in that silence. Yeah? But you have to go deep within. Dive into the fear. You will reach a point where you will go beyond the fear. But that's not possible till you actually gather that courage and dive deep. Yeah? That is the only way. Yes. So guys, if you've not really started sincerely meditating, this is your chance. Yeah. Now also understand we have a long way in Vasistha to go. Start meditating sincerely. Yeah. Not with an alarm clock set, I'm going to get up in 20 minutes. No. Just having the courage to go within. Yeah. The mind is very insecure. There is this fear of uncertainty that you all live with in life. You take that same fear of uncertainty into your meditation. That is why you cannot meditate longer. Have you observed this? Your mind does not like that silence. That, okay, what is there beyond the silence? I don't want to know. It'll pull you out. Oh, you have to do the laundry. Your husband is calling. The phone is ringing. Yeah, the mind pulls you out of that silence. Recognize this is happening to me. Yeah. First step is recognition and acknowledging, yes, my mind is afraid of this silence. Once you acknowledge it, once you recognize it, then only can you say, okay, today I'm really going to go deeper into this silence. Let me see what will happen. The mind will come up with different excuses. Just let it be in the background. As if when you put on radio or music and after some time you stop listening to music. Doesn't that happen? Yeah. Or Pandora or something you put on. Pandora asks you, are you still listening? Yeah. It just goes on in the background. Like that only you should reach a point where your mind keeps on talking but you are somewhere deep. Gone. Totally ignoring that chit chat. Finally that chit chat dies down. It's somewhere in the background, it goes and it dies down. You have to wait till that moment. That is the moment of restlessness. I call it the moment, those few minutes of restlessness in meditation. If you can get through that part, that whatever minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, some people it's all 20 minutes, I don't know. That period of restlessness of the mind, if you can get past that, wait for it to just shut up, then you will dive deeper. It does not happen in 20 minutes meditation, guys. So if you're thinking only in 15-20 minutes I can do this, no. Start making your meditations longer. Yeah? Start with Kriya. Kriya helps to calm down the mind, take all that restlessness away. Yeah? It takes all the emotion also out. Sometimes you cry and then you become empty and then you go into that meditation. Do your Sahaj, those who have Sahaj. Yeah? Take your mantra and then just dissolve into that silence. Yeah? No deadline, no alarm set. That's why it's better to do in the evening rather than morning before you have to go to work. Yeah? Done with all my responsibilities, my work. Now I sit and I just go into that silence. Yeah. Homework number 1. Everybody of you has to start increasing your meditation time from 20 minutes to an hour at least. Yes, everybody? You sleep 1 hour less, it's okay. This is better rest than your sleep. Anyway, in your sleep, you're just dreaming about the same nonsense. Aaj pizza nahi mila khane ko, you're eating pizza in your dream. You couldn't make that little appointment with your girlfriend or boyfriend. You are going out with your girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse in the dream. Useless things anyway you do in your sleep. Sleep 1 hour less. Meditate in the night and sleep. Yeah? Start becoming really courageous. That is why Ashtavakra kept saying Dhiraha, Dhiraha. Really courage is required. Without courage it's not happening. Yeah? Commitment, everybody. Yeah? I don't get anything from your meditation. You get it. Good.
In the silence course, Bill was saying some of the meditations were like 55 to 58 minutes long. And you could not even feel it.
Yeah. Now bring that into your life. Every day that should happen. Yeah. What's the point of doing it once in 6 months? Yeah? Only this much progress happens with that. And then you come back from your silence course and you start fighting with your spouse and children, finish. That progress also has gone down the drain. No use. Wasted effort. Yeah? Bring it into your life every day. Every day. Yeah? Some of you have just gone to the advanced course, to the art of silence, right? So you still have that thing, the silent thing. Continue it now. Yeah? Just meditate every day. Okay? That consciousness which is reflected in sense experiences is yet devoid of them and cannot be experienced by them. This is where we stop. In it all beings rejoice, though it itself is pure bliss, beyond all joy, like the space but beyond space. Glorious, yet devoid of all expansions and glory. Though seemingly it does all, it does nothing. Yeah. So, this consciousness is just like space, but it is beyond space. This is very easy to understand. Yeah? This consciousness is glorious. But again, once I say glory, there is a possibility of falling from glory. Opposites get implied. So that is why it is said it is beyond glory. Yeah? But this mind cannot understand beyond glory, no. That is why they have to, just for the sake of this mind, say it is glorious, it is pure, it is like space. These are all adjectives. Though seemingly it does all, it does nothing. Just like this space does nothing, but it is everywhere I go, in everything I do. Yeah? Inside everything, inside this computer, inside the phone, inside this body, it is everywhere. It is outside, inside, everywhere. And still it does nothing. It seems to do everything, but it still does nothing. Just like that, the Brahman consciousness seems to do everything, but it does nothing. Yeah? All this is I, and all this is mine. But I am not, and I am not other than I. Yeah? Same logic. The moment I say I, you is implied. Same logic. That is why they want you to drop both I and other than I, which is equal to you. Yeah? Drop this Dvaitam. It is beyond Dvaitam. Yeah? It is beyond duality. I have realized this. Let this world be an illusion or substantial. I am free from the fever of distress. Yeah. He doesn't care anymore whether this world is real or it is unreal. Yeah. It just is. It is what it is. Yeah. Like many times you wake up from a dream all sweating and scared and then you're like, oh, nonsense, it was a dream. Yeah? After some time, you don't care about it, right? Yeah. How much ever you sweated, panted, you lost sleep in the night, after some time, it's not even there in your memory. Yeah? Maybe it was 5 nights ago, 10 nights ago. Today, it's totally faded. I don't even think about it. Yeah? You have to reach that stage in life where everything, all this drama that is happening, family, friends, money, car, job, career, all this, whether it is there or it is not there, it doesn't matter. Have you reached there yet? Homework for you. You think, have you reached that stage where things don't matter? What is. It's okay. It's good, it's okay. It's bad, it's okay. It's horrible, it's okay. It's fantastic, fabulous, it's all okay. Have you reached that point of it's okay in life? Yeah? So this week we'll practice. If you know, this is a difficult phase of the planets. Okay, those who don't know, it's good. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but the planets were in a bad kind of state. It's called the Mercury retrograde, and it's going to go until the 22nd. So I'm sure this week also will have a little bit of ups and downs for you. During the week, whatever happens at work, at home, with friends, family, can you say it's okay? Test yourself. Not suppressing, huh? Inside, can you reach that state where you say it's okay? Yeah? Some communication error happened in office and your boss really screams at you, how could you write an email like that? And you're wondering, how could I write an email like that? It's okay. Can you let go? Dropping that feeling of guilt, regret, that fear of being fired now. Can you drop? Yeah. Some mistake happens at home with your family member, with your spouse, with your child. And you wonder suddenly, oh my God, what happened? What did I do? Can you let go? Yeah. If somebody else behaves extremely nasty with you, can you just say it's okay and let go without being nasty in return? That's the meaning of it's okay, huh? Not saying it's okay after giving all the kind of insults that you can possibly give and then say, oh, it's okay. No. Yeah. It's okay means not reacting from here, from within, not flinching even. Yeah. Not experiencing that anxiety, that hatred, that guilt, that regret. And just being with what is. Okay. It's the game of the planets. It will all change on the 22nd. Yes? Oh, till now I didn't know. It was easier. Now I know. Now you'll be more careful. Yeah? Okay?
We do the Disha Pranayam in the rural happiness program I take in India. We always do Disha Pranayam. I don't know, we don't do it here in the US. It is so effective and so impactful. It's pretty much what you were talking about.
Yeah. Bowing down to the angels. Everybody in Cincinnati has done it with me. Remember, guys? Yeah. We bow down to east, west, north, south. Yeah. This is bowing down to the angels. We've done this in our course, I think, years ago. And that's also beautiful. Bowing down to whatever happens, I surrender. Yeah. Jealousy came up, oh, I surrender. Oh, hatred came up, anger came up, I surrender. I let go. Yes. Whatever comes up, let go, drop. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. This is your second homework for the week. What was the first one?
Meditate every day for at least more than 20 minutes.
Increase your meditation time from 20 minutes to at least an hour. Yeah, and meditate every day. That's your first homework. And second is, it's okay. Huh?
Eat 1 hour less.
Sleep 1 hour less if required. Clear? All good? Yeah. This particular page is really very beautiful in the text. Yeah? In the Sanskrit text. It says at the bottom, the verses in the text that constitute the second paragraph above are inspiring. Yeah. Exactly what I explained to you, about the consciousness that it is in everything and all those states, and still those states do not belong to the Brahman consciousness, they belong to the Prakriti. Good? All good? Okay. So those who are still lagging behind, quickly come up to speed by next week. Yeah. Next week I'm going to give you homework. So I don't want to give you homework today because I know some of you are still lagging behind. So quickly come up to speed. Yes? And I'll see you next week. Jai Gurudev.